Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wisdom Fountain. And it is Wisdom Wednesday with me, Tiffany Rochelle. And I'm so excited to be here and share with you this quick download that I have. I like to take breaks in case you didn't notice, but a lot has been going on. And so I believe in processing and listening and not moving too fast and speaking too much. So I just want to say, I hope that you guys have been doing well. And I just want to share this message really quickly. One of the things that is important, I'm just trying to figure out how to say this best. So you guys know I'm raw. I don't really edit my videos. So you're going to get it how I feel it when I'm thinking about it. So one of the things that I notice, we'll start there. In our current climate, there is a lot of offending going on. And people are using the idea of being offended as a way to make people shut up, to make people stop, to challenge the validity of the statements that are being made. And so as I'm watching this unfold in real time in social media, in politics, and in religious establishments and organizations, and just in corporate offices everywhere, I'm seeing the natural and the spiritual ramifications, the things that are actually happening. As you know, I am a kingdom-focused believer and leadership strategist, so I'm always going to look at things from a very natural but also a spiritual and biblical perspective. And so one of the things that I noticed is that there are people who are claiming to be offended, but in reality, they're not offended at all. They're threatened. Yes, they're not offended, they're threatened. So let me unroll this just a little bit because I don't want to be on here a long time. People are saying, you offended me, so you need to apologize, or you need to stop talking about what you're talking about or doing what you're doing. And because we are in such a politically correct, hypersensitive time, no one wants to be in trouble. No one wants to be lumped in with somebody who is deemed as unsociable, unfavorable, anything. And so they're very quick, without even checking the receipts, I'll say, to just jump on the bandwagon and go, I'm not associated with them. They're bad, they're offensive, and they shouldn't have said that. If you're offended, then I don't have a right to question whether what you're saying is actually offensive. I just have to listen to you and say, let me apologize. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't agree with that. I don't. Call me old school, call me old fool, whichever you want. I just believe that in many instances, when people are allowed to say they're offended and it's unchecked, that it's a boiling pot. It's a boiling pot that is waiting to boil over, because if everything that I say bothers someone, then ultimately I'm going to have to be quiet for fear of offending someone or bothering someone's sensitivities. And that's the climate that we've come to now. That's the space that we've entered into. And I believe that it is I can't think of the word for it right now, but I think that it puts us in danger. We are definitely in danger of that trigger point and sensitivity keeping people from accountability. If I say something and it's the truth and you don't like the truth, then of course you're going to be offended. Does that mean that I was wrong? Ask yourself that question and pay attention to how it's playing out in your own life. So I just want to go over really quickly 3 things that I noticed about the difference in being offended or being threatened. And are you offending or threatening? This is for you too, for your own personal defense. One of the things that I see being threatened are people's position, the status quo. When a person says something that upsets or possibly can challenge the position that someone's in, so leadership, if I come and say, hey, as a leader, I don't feel like you're fulfilling this role, or I feel like you were in error in what you said, then sometimes those in leadership positions can say, you offended me, you are out of order, you are out of line, you had no right to challenge or question me. You're not really offending them, you're threatening them. Many leaders have gone very long being unchecked and unaccountable. And we are now in an age of accountability. So there will be many more people who are being checked and people who are doing the checking. If you're in this position, you need to do a self-evaluation. If someone comes to you, are you being offended because they had the audacity to challenge you? Or are you willing to listen and say, hey, maybe what they're saying is correct? Instead of using offended as a way to get them to shut up and back off of you, maybe you need to do a deep dive, an honest evaluation to decide if you're being threatened or if you feel threatened by their standing up to you. Are you threatening other people because you're standing up? That's question one. Many people are claiming to be offended when in actuality they're threatened by when they feel that their beliefs or their understandings are being challenged. So I'm sure everybody's aware of what's going on in the media now. And I won't comment directly on the situation, but what I will say is that sometimes people will say that you challenging their beliefs or their understanding of the way things are is something that is against them, when in fact, it has nothing to do with them. It is a challenge. I won't say it has nothing to do with them, but it's not about them. It is establishing or debunking something that has been a thought for a long time. And when there is evidence and proof that the thought processes or the ideas that have been around for a long time are not necessarily true or are not the only piece of the thought process, because I think that's important to understand. Sometimes we only have small pieces of our beliefs, and when other thoughts or pieces are introduced, it challenges our whole belief system. And so many belief systems are being knocked around in this time because we're finding out, as it says in Color Purple, Paul is not Paul, right? What we believe to be the truth of our existence is not actually what it is. There were missing pieces. So just because someone introduces information that you were unaware of, or maybe that you were aware of but you don't want to believe, it does not mean that they are offending you. It means that you're threatened by, you don't want your belief system to crumble. That's the shortest answer. People don't want their belief systems to crumble. And I will say that, especially when those belief systems have yielded privilege or yielded benefits. Who wants to lose their privilege? Who wants to lose their benefits? And that can be in any situation, from, again, religion. It could be from politics. It could be familial. Challenging people's beliefs will threaten their existence. And why would challenging a person's belief be so threatening? Because most of our beliefs are tied directly to our identity. What we believe culturally, societally, what we believe gender-based, what we believe as a people, as a nation, as a culture, as a whole, are the bricks of our identity. So imagine if all my life I believed that peanut butter was made with beans. I know, it's silly. But what if I believed my whole life that peanut butter was made with beans, and then someone says, no, the original form of peanut butter is not made with that. Wait a minute. Now you're challenging what my mother taught me. You're challenging what I believe, because this peanut butter sandwiches are been the basis of my childhood, of my beliefs. And I know it's really simplistic to use peanut butter, but that's the first thing that came to my mind. But you get the point. Many of us are being awakened. We're being remolded. We're being reestablished. And society is shifting as a whole. Religion is shifting as a whole. The nations are shifting as a whole. So our beliefs, our positions, our identities are going to be shaken. And we are going to have to decide whether we're willing to allow the shaking to move us into a higher form, into a higher form of living, into a higher form of understanding, to a higher form of being. Are we willing to allow the foundations to be shaken a little bit, because maybe we didn't have the whole picture, and then we begin to be willing to allow our identity to grow? Or are we going to keep ourselves in the same spaces, the same boxes, and then fight anybody who challenges it because we don't want to change, we don't want to grow, we don't want to be wrong, we don't want to believe that people and places and cultures are not inferior the way we thought they were, or that people that we were told were liars are not that, or people that we were told were just deficient that are not that, or maybe we weren't told, we just believed it. Are you willing to grow beyond what you think you know, or are you going to stay and claim offense so that you don't have to hear it, so that you don't have to move, so that you can shut those people up? It's a question you need to ask yourself from both sides, because the world is moving. We're entering a new realm, a new time, and a new space. And the way we've thought, the way we've lived, the way we've been before is no longer sufficient. You will not be able to survive standing in the same place, because the truths are coming out. Change is here. And everything that you thought you knew, maybe just be open to understanding that there's so much more. Don't allow what is actually threatening to you become the block for you. Don't claim to be offended. Check your gut and know if you're threatened. And then decide to open up and maybe experience something new. I know, I hope this message wasn't all over the place, but I really just felt the need to express that. So again, thank you for joining me on Wisdom Wednesday. You know, I come and I talk quick and I get off. If you want to send me messages, please, of course, you can comment below and I will get those. But if you want to interact, you can send me an email at visitthewisdomfountain@gmail.com. You can always email me at hello@tiffanyrochelle.com. And I look forward to sharing another Wednesday with you. Thank you for joining me at the Wisdom Fountain. And until the next time, be wise.